The war room on Hegemony Prime buzzed with activity. Massive holographic displays showed star maps covering half the known galaxy. Red markers indicated conquered worlds, while blue ones showed targets still waiting for invasion. Commander Tae-min stood at attention before the towering figure of Supreme General Korthvel. The alien leader's four arms gestured at a small blue world on the display. His voice carried the weight of absolute authority. "The Valari homeworld must fall within 30 rotations," Korthvel declared. "Their agricultural technology is too valuable to leave in primitive hands. Take your fleet and make it quick." Tae-min nodded sharply. He had conquered 17 worlds for the hegemony. This would be number 18. The Valari were peaceful farmers with no military worth mentioning. It would be another easy victory. "What about the rumors, sir?" Tae-min asked. "Some say there's a world called Earth watching us from the shadows." Korthvel's laugh boomed through the chamber. "Earth? That dead rock in the Sol system? We sent 100 probes there over the past century. Not one returned. The planet is either empty or home to primitives too stupid to build radios." The Supreme General waved a dismissive hand. "Focus on real threats, Commander. The Valari await your attention." Tae-min saluted and left to prepare his fleet. Behind him, Korthvel turned back to his maps, completely unaware that his every word was being recorded. Far beyond the edge of known space, Captain Ji-woo sat in the command chair of the stealth ship Silent Dawn. The vessel hung motionless in the void, its advanced cloaking systems making it invisible to any known scanning technology. "Captain," called Ensign Hae-jin from the communications station, "we just intercepted the Hegemony War Council meeting. They're planning to attack the Valari homeworld." Ji-woo frowned as she reviewed the transmission data. The Valari were gentle, beings who had never harmed anyone. Their only crime was developing farming techniques that could feed billions on worlds the hegemony wanted to control. "Send this to Admiral Dong-ho immediately," Ji-woo ordered. "Priority Alpha encryption." The message traveled through a network of hidden relay stations scattered across the galaxy. Each station was no larger than a refrigerator, designed to look like space debris. The Hegemony and Galactic Council had no idea these communication nodes existed. On Luna Base, Admiral Dong-ho received the message in his private office. The room's walls were lined with monitors showing the positions of every major fleet in the galaxy. For over 50 years, Earth had been watching and learning. The old admiral's weathered face hardened as he read the intelligence report. He had seen too many peaceful species wiped out by the hegemony's endless hunger for conquest. The Kithara, the gentle moss-walkers of Verdian Prime, the crystal singers of Resonance 7, all gone because no one had the power to stop the slaughter. But Earth had been preparing. While the galaxy thought humans were extinct or primitive, Earth's shipyards in the asteroid belt had been working day and night for decades. The most advanced fleet in galactic history waited in the darkness beyond Pluto, ready to reveal itself. Dong-ho activated his secure communication system and called President Hyun-woo. The president's face appeared on the screen, showing the strain of keeping humanity's greatest secret. "Admiral," the president said, "what news from the observation fleet?" "The hegemony is moving against the Valari, sir, innocent farmers who have never raised a weapon against anyone. Their only defense is a handful of cargo ships with mining lasers." President Hyun-woo was quiet for a long moment. Earth's policy had always been to observe without interfering, but as their technology advanced and their understanding of galactic politics grew, staying hidden became harder to justify. "How long before the attack begins?" the president asked. "Commander Tae-min's fleet will reach Valari space in 6 days. The orbital bombardment will start immediately after arrival. Based on hegemony patterns, they'll target civilian centers first to break morale." The president closed his eyes. When he opened them again, his expression was firm. "Admiral, how quickly can we get ships to the Valari system?" "Our fastest dreadnoughts can make the journey in 4 days, sir. But once we reveal ourselves, there's No going back. The galaxy will know Earth exists and that we've been watching them. And what's our tactical assessment if we engage? Admiral Dong Ho couldn't help but smile. Sir, our smallest frigate could destroy their largest battleship. Our dreadnoughts are so advanced that the hegemony's weapons couldn't scratch our armor plating. It wouldn't be a battle. It would be a demonstration. President Hyun-woo stood and walked to his office window. Outside, he could see the lights of New Geneva sprawling across the lunar surface. Humanity had built wonders in the shadows, while the galaxy ignored them. Admiral, I'm authorizing Operation Thunderstrike. Deploy the Third Fleet to Valari space. Rules of engagement are simple. Protect the innocent and show the galaxy that Earth will not tolerate genocide. Understood, sir. I'll contact Captain Minho aboard the Indomitable immediately. In the Kuiper Belt, far beyond Neptune's orbit, the massive Shipyard Complex 7 hummed with activity. The structure was larger than most cities, completely hidden from detection by advanced stealth technology that made it appear as nothing more than a large asteroid. Captain Minho stood on the bridge of the EDFS Indomitable, watching as the final weapon systems came online. The Dreadnought was 15 kilometers long and packed with technology that would revolutionize space warfare. Her sister ships formed an impressive line stretching into the darkness. Captain, called Lieutenant Wu Jin from the tactical station. We just received flash orders from Admiral Dong Ho. Operation Thunderstrike is authorized. Minho felt his pulse quicken. After years of preparation and waiting, Earth was finally ready to show itself to the galaxy. The crew had trained for this moment, but it still felt surreal. Signal the fleet, Minho ordered. All ships are to prepare for immediate departure to the Valari system. This is not a drill. Around the Indomitable, 19 other dreadnoughts began powering up their massive engines. Each ship was a masterpiece of human engineering, designed to project Earth's power across interstellar distances. Navigation, plot a course for Valari Prime. Maximum speed. Course plotted, sir. Estimated travel time, 4 days, 6 hours. Minho looked at the tactical display showing the positions of all 20 dreadnoughts. Soon, the galaxy would learn that Earth had never been alone or helpless. Humanity had simply been waiting for the right moment to emerge from the shadows. All ships report ready, Captain, announced Commander So-jin. Then let's go introduce ourselves to the galaxy, Minho said. Engage faster than light drive. The 20 ships vanished into hyperspace, carrying Earth's message to a galaxy that had no idea what was coming. The morning sun cast long shadows across the golden wheat fields of Valara Prime. Farmer Kaelvita stood at the edge of his property, watching his blue-skinned children play among the tall grain stalks. Their laughter echoed across the peaceful valley where his family had lived for 6 generations. Kaelvita's communication device buzzed with an urgent message from the Planetary Council. His heart sank as he read the words. Hegemony warships had been detected at the edge of their solar system. The invasion everyone feared was finally beginning. He called his children back to the house and gathered his family in their simple living room. His wife, Nirasol, held their youngest daughter close, while their 2 sons sat quietly, sensing the fear in their parents' voices. The bad aliens are coming, Kaelvita explained gently. We need to go to the underground shelters like we practiced. His eldest son looked up with worried eyes. Papa, will the Council's defense ships protect us? Kaelvita's heart broke. Their planetary defense consisted of 12 old cargo ships fitted with mining lasers. Against a hegemony invasion fleet, they would last minutes at most. We will be brave, he said instead. And we will hope that someone in the galaxy still believes in protecting the innocent. Across Valara Prime, millions of families were having similar conversations. The Valari had always been peaceful farmers and scientists. They had no military tradition because they had never needed one. Their greatest achievement was developing crops that could grow on almost any world, feeding billions across the galaxy. Now, That same technology made them a target. In the capital city of New Harmony, planetary leader Mel Thera stood before the Council of Elders. The chamber's walls were covered with growing vines and flowering plants, reflecting the Valari's deep connection to nature. The hegemony fleet will arrive in 36 hours, Mel Thera announced to the gathered leaders. Our defense coordinator estimates we have perhaps 2 hours before orbital bombardment begins. Elder Kez Vita, the oldest member of the council, spoke in a trembling voice. Have we received any response to our distress calls? None, Mel Thera replied sadly. The galaxy has watched the hegemony destroy 17 civilizations without lifting a finger. We cannot expect them to start caring about farmers. The council fell silent. Everyone knew their fate was sealed. The hegemony would bombard their cities from orbit, then land troops to capture their agricultural databases and technology. Any Valari who survived would become slaves on distant worlds. Then we face the end with dignity, Elder Kesvita said. Send our complete agricultural archives to every free world in the galaxy. If we must die, at least our knowledge can help others grow food and prosper. High above Valara Prime, hidden in the shadow of the planet's largest moon, Captain So Young watched the approaching hegemony fleet through the sensors of her reconnaissance ship Ghost Runner. The vessel was no larger than a fighter, but packed with the most advanced observation equipment Earth had ever built. Fleet composition analysis complete, reported her sensor operator, Ensign Dal Ho. 237 vessels, 15 heavy battleships, 40 cruisers, and the rest. Our troop transports and support ships. So Young recorded every detail of the enemy formation. Back on Earth, military analysts would study this data to understand hegemony tactics and capabilities, but more importantly, she was transmitting real-time footage of what was about to happen. Ma'am, Dalho said quietly, the lead ships are moving into bombardment positions. They're targeting the civilian population centers first. So Young felt sick watching the tactical display. The hegemony wasn't even pretending this was a military operation. They were planning pure genocide to terrify the Valari into surrender. Continue recording everything, she ordered. Earth needs to see this. On Luna Base, the Earth War Council watched So Young's transmission in horrified silence. The main screen showed hegemony battleships positioning themselves over Valara Prime's major cities, targeting computers locked onto schools, hospitals, and residential areas. How long until our fleet arrives? Asked Defense Minister Yun Ji. Admiral Dong Ho checked his tactical display. Captain Min Ho reports the Indomitable and her escorts will reach Valari space in 18 hours. The hegemony bombardment begins in 6 hours. President Hyun Woo slammed his fist on the table. 18 hours is too long. Millions will die before we arrive. Sir, Admiral Dong Ho said carefully, we do have one ship already in the system. Captain So Young's Ghost Runner is equipped with experimental weapons for field testing. One reconnaissance ship against an entire fleet? The Ghost Runner carries 4 of our new quantum torpedoes. Each warhead has enough power to destroy a city. In theory, she could take out their command ship and disrupt their attack coordination. President Hyun Woo considered the options, revealing Earth's technology early would eliminate any element of surprise. But watching innocent people die while they had the power to prevent it was unthinkable. Contact Captain So Young, authorization code Omega 7. She is cleared to engage enemy forces at her discretion. In the shadow of Valara's moon, So Young received the unprecedented order. For the first time in Earth's history, a human ship was authorized to fire on alien targets. The weight of that responsibility settled on her shoulders. Dalho, bring all weapon systems online. Target the hegemony command battleship. Ma'am, are you sure? Once we fire, there's no going back. The galaxy will know Earth has advanced weapons technology. So Young watched the tactical display as hegemony ships prepared to murder millions of innocent farmers. Some secrets aren't worth keeping. The Ghost Runner's quantum torpedoes armed with a barely audible hum. Each weapon contained enough compressed Antimatter to crack a moon. Against a battleship, even one built by the hegemony, the result would be spectacular. Firing solution locked, Dalho reported. Fire 2 torpedoes. Target their command ship. The weapons launched silently through the vacuum of space. They were invisible to conventional sensors and moved at nearly light speed. The hegemony battleship had no warning before the first torpedo struck its forward hull. The explosion lit up space like a miniature star. The massive warship, over 2 kilometers long and heavily armored, simply ceased to exist. Vaporized metal and energy cascaded outward in a perfect sphere of destruction. The second torpedo struck a heavy cruiser that happened to be nearby. It too vanished in a ball of superheated plasma. Across the hegemony fleet, alarm sirens wailed as commanders tried to understand what had happened. Their most powerful warship had been destroyed by an enemy they couldn't even detect. General Vexthon, now the ranking hegemony officer, stared at his tactical display in disbelief. "Where did that attack come from? Scan for enemy ships." "Sir, sensors show nothing. Whatever destroyed the Hammer of Conquest is completely invisible to our detection systems." "Impossible! No known technology can hide a ship that powerful." On Valara Prime, Kale Vita and his family watched the sky light up with the distant explosion. Across the planet, Valari emerged from their shelters to witness something unprecedented. For the first time in galactic history, someone had struck back at the hegemony. The mysterious protector had bought them precious time, but everyone knew it was only a delay. The hegemony fleet was vast, and one hidden ship couldn't stop them all. Still, for the first time in days, hope flickered in Valari. Hearts. Someone out there was watching. Someone cared enough to fight. General Vexthon paced the bridge of his flagship, the Iron Fist. Around him, his officers worked frantically to understand how their most powerful battleship had simply vanished. The explosion had been unlike anything in their weapons databases. "Sir," called his sensor operator, "we're detecting massive energy signatures at the edge of the system, 20 contacts dropping out of faster-than-light travel." Vexthon turned to his tactical display. The new contacts appeared as red dots on the holographic star map. But something was wrong with the size readings. "Check those sensor readings again. These ships appear larger than space stations." The young officer's hands trembled as he confirmed the data. "Sir, the sensors are correct. The largest contact measures 15 kilometers in length. The smallest is still larger than our heaviest battleships." "Impossible," Vexthon growled. "No known species builds ships that massive. They would be too slow and vulnerable to be effective in combat." His communications officer suddenly straightened. "General, we're receiving a transmission on all frequencies. It's coming from the unknown fleet. Put it through." The bridge speakers crackled to life with a calm, clear voice, speaking perfect hegemony standard. "Hegemony forces, this is Admiral Sungmin of the Earth Defense Fleet. You have 60 seconds to cease all hostile actions and withdraw from Valari space. This is your only warning." Vexthon's 4 eyes widened. Earth? The dead world his intelligence, reports claimed, was empty? "Communications? Open a channel to this Admiral Sungmin." "Channel open, sir." "Unknown commander," Vexthon said in his most threatening voice. "You are interfering with legitimate hegemony military operations. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." The response came without hesitation. "General, you are about to attack a peaceful civilian population. The Earth Defense Fleet exists to prevent exactly this kind of genocide. You have 45 seconds to begin your withdrawal." Vexthon laughed. "You threaten the hegemony with 20 ships? I command over 200 vessels, each one crewed by veteran warriors. Your bluff will not work here." Aboard the massive Dreadnought, indomitable, Admiral Sungmin stood calmly on his command bridge. The ship's main viewer showed the hegemony fleet spread across space like a swarm of angry insects. "Admiral," reported his tactical officer, Commander Young-Soo, The hegemony general is refusing to withdraw. His ships are moving into attack formation. Sung-min nodded grimly. He had hoped the hegemony would see reason when faced with Earth's superior technology. But like all bullies, they only understood strength. Signal the fleet. All ships are authorized to engage. Rules of engagement. Disable if possible, destroy if necessary. Protect civilian targets at all costs. Yes, sir. All. Ships report ready for combat. The 20 Earth Dreadnoughts spread into battle formation. Each ship was a masterpiece of human engineering, built with technology decades ahead of anything the galaxy had seen. Their hulls were composed of metamaterials that could absorb and redirect energy attacks. Their weapons systems could punch through any known armor. General Vexthon watched the human ships deploy and felt his first moment of doubt. Their movements were too precise, too coordinated. These weren't the actions of primitive beings flying oversized cargo haulers. Sir, his tactical officer reported, energy readings from the human ships are off our scales. Their power generation capabilities appear to be... He paused, checking his readings again. Sir, each of their ships is generating more power than our entire fleet combined. That's impossible. Run the scans again. I've run them 5 times, sir. The readings are consistent. Vexthon stared at the tactical display. Something was very wrong here, but he had come too far to back down now. The hegemony's reputation depended on crushing any resistance quickly and brutally. All ships, open fire on the human fleet. Show them what happens when primitives challenge the hegemony. Over 200 hegemony warships turned their weapons toward the Earth fleet. Plasma cannons, particle beams, and fusion missiles launched in a coordinated barrage that could have glassed a small moon. The attack struck the Earth ships and simply vanished. Energy shields that existed only in theoretical physics absorbed the bombardment without even flickering. The human dreadnoughts continued their advance as if nothing had happened. Direct hit on all targets, the hegemony weapons officer reported. But sir, we're reading no damage at all. Their shields absorbed everything. Vexthon felt ice forming in his stomach. What kind of shielding technology could absorb that much firepower? His answer came in the form of the Indomitable's main. Guns opening fire. Railgun systems the size of city blocks launched tungsten projectiles at 15% the speed of light. Each round carried enough kinetic energy to shatter continents. The first projectile struck a hegemony heavy cruiser, dead center. The ship's armor, designed to withstand plasma bombardments and fusion explosions, crumpled like paper. The cruiser broke apart into spinning debris before its crew even realized they were under attack. Impossible, Vexthon whispered. The human fleet's second volley fired. 20 dreadnoughts unleashed focused energy beams that could cut through planetary crust. The weapons were originally designed for mining asteroids, but they worked just as well on hegemony battleships. 5 more enemy vessels simply ceased to exist, vaporized by weapons that operated on principles the hegemony didn't understand. All ships, evasive maneuvers! Vexthon screamed into his communicator. Scatter formation! But the human ships weren't finished. Each dreadnought carried hundreds of smaller weapon systems. Point defense lasers designed to shoot down incoming missiles easily sliced through hegemony fighters and bombers. Torpedo tubes launched smart weapons that could think for themselves and choose their own targets. In 12 minutes of one-sided combat, the proud hegemony invasion fleet was reduced to expanding clouds of superheated metal and escaping life pods. Vexthon found himself aboard one of the few surviving ships, a damaged transport fleeing toward the edge of the system. His mighty fleet was gone, destroyed by an enemy that shouldn't exist. Communications, he called weakly. Send an emergency message to Hegemony Prime. Tell them Earth is real, and they're more dangerous than anything we've ever faced. Admiral Sung-min watched the last hegemony ships disappear into faster-than-light travel. Around his flagship, the other Earth dreadnoughts maintained perfect formation, their weapons already powering down. "Damage report," he requested. Commander Young-Soo smiled. "0 casualties, sir. Minor shield fluctuations on 3 ships, but no actual damage. The hegemony weapons couldn't penetrate our defensive systems." "And their fleet?" "Completely neutralized." "Sir, we count 47 surviving ships out of their original 237. All survivors are fleeing the system." Sung-min nodded. The demonstration had been more effective than he had hoped. News of this battle would spread across the galaxy within hours. Every species would know that Earth was no longer hiding in the shadows. "Open a channel to Valara Prime." "Channel open, sir." "People of Valara," Sung-min's voice carried across the planet's communication networks. "This is Admiral Sung-min of the Earth Defense Fleet. The immediate threat to your world has been eliminated. You are under Earth's protection now. On the planet's surface, millions of Valari emerged from their shelters to see the massive human ships hanging in their sky like guardian angels. For the first time in months, children played in the fields without fear. Farmer Kale Vita stood with his family watching the strange ships that had saved their world. His youngest daughter tugged on his sleeve. "Papa, who are the humans?" Kale Vita didn't know how to answer. No one had ever heard of Earth before today, but somehow these mysterious protectors had appeared at exactly the right moment to save innocent lives. "I don't know, little one," he said softly, "but I think they might be the answer to all our prayers." The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened in unprecedented chaos. The massive chamber on Council Prime buzzed with frightened voices speaking in dozens of alien languages. Representatives from across the galaxy had received the same shocking news. The hegemony's unstoppable war machine had been completely destroyed by an unknown force calling itself Earth. Chancellor Zeph Major, the ancient reptilian leader of the council, called for order with his ceremonial staff. His scaled hands trembled slightly as he addressed the assembly. "Fellow beings," his voice echoed through the chamber, "we gather today to discuss a threat unlike any our galaxy has faced in 1,000 years. A species calling themselves humans has emerged from the supposedly dead system of Sol with technology that makes our greatest achievements look primitive." Murmurs of fear rippled through the crowd. The holographic display showed footage captured by surviving hegemony ships. Massive vessels that dwarfed anything in the known galaxy, weapons that could vaporize battleships instantly, and defensive systems that made their attackers' weapons completely useless. Regent Moore Taxis of the Stellar Federation stood to address the assembly. His blue skin had turned pale with worry. "Honorable Chancellor, my intelligence services have confirmed the reports. In 12 minutes, 20 human ships destroyed over 200 hegemony vessels. This was not a battle. It was an execution." The chamber erupted in panicked discussions. For centuries, the Galactic Council had maintained peace through careful balance of power. No single species possessed technology advanced enough to threaten the established order. Now that balance was shattered. Ambassador Kell 9 of the Trade Consortium raised her tentacled appendages for attention. "We must understand their intentions. Did they attack the hegemony to conquer territory, or were they truly protecting the Valari as they claimed?" Before anyone could answer, the chamber's communication system activated. A clear human voice filled the space, speaking perfect galactic standard. "Honorable members of the Galactic Council, this is Intelligence Officer Bo-Ra of the Earth Diplomatic. Corps, Earth requests permission to address your assembly." Chancellor Zeph Major's eyes widened. Somehow, these humans had accessed the Council's most secure communication networks without triggering any alarms. "How did you penetrate our security systems?" he demanded. "The same way we've been monitoring galactic affairs for the past century," Bo-Ra replied calmly. "Earth has been watching and learning. We know about every major political decision, every military action, and every act of genocide committed by the so-called civilized galaxy. The chamber fell silent. The implications were staggering. If Earth had been observing them for 100 years, they knew all the Council's secrets, all their weaknesses, all their shameful failures to protect innocent species. "What do you want?" Chancellor Zeph Major asked. "Earth's demands are simple," Bora continued. "First, immediate cessation of all slave raids and forced relocations across the galaxy. Second, reparations and aid for all species currently suffering under oppression. Third, recognition of Earth as an independent sovereign power with the right to protect innocent civilizations." Regent Mortaxis stood angrily. "You cannot simply appear from nowhere and dictate terms to the established galactic order." "We're not dictating." Bora's voice remained perfectly calm. "We're informing you of the new reality. Earth has the technological capability to enforce these demands and the moral obligation to protect those who cannot protect themselves." General Thex Kor, the Council's chief military advisor, had been studying the battle footage during the discussion. The four-armed warrior finally looked up from his analysis with a grim expression. "Chancellor," he said quietly, "I've completed my tactical assessment of the Valari engagement. The humans weren't even fighting at full capacity." "Explain," the Chancellor demanded. "Their smallest escort frigate could single-handedly destroy our most powerful battleship. Their dreadnoughts are essentially mobile weapons platforms that have redefined space warfare. Based on energy output readings, each human ship generates more power than our entire home defense fleet." The general's words hit the assembly like a physical blow. Several representatives slumped in their chairs, overwhelmed by the magnitude of what they were facing. "How is this possible?" whispered Trade Consortium Representative Velhira. "How did a primitive species develop such advanced technology?" General Thexcor pulled up more analysis data. "They weren't primitive. Every probe we sent to their system over the past century was captured and reverse-engineered. While we dismissed them as dead or unimportant, they were studying our technology and building something far superior." On Earth, President Yunwu sat in the Situation Room with his top advisors. The secure chamber was filled with holographic displays showing the locations of every major fleet in the galaxy. Admiral Dong Ho stood beside the main tactical screen, pointing out strategic positions. "Mr. President," the Admiral reported, "our revelation has caused exactly the reaction we expected. Panic, confusion, and desperate attempts to understand our capabilities." Defense Minister Yun Ji reviewed intelligence reports from across the galaxy. "Several minor species have already sent secret messages requesting our protection. The Kithara survivors, the Crystal Singers, even some hegemony. Subject worlds are reaching out." President Hyun Woo studied the galactic map. Red markers showed systems under hegemony control, while blue ones indicated Council territories. Yellow markers represented independent worlds, many of them struggling under various forms of oppression. "What's our current fleet strength?" he asked. "We have 64 dreadnoughts operational, with 12 more completing construction each month," Admiral Dong Ho replied. "Our shipyards in the asteroid belt are operating at full capacity. Within 6 months, we'll have over 100 capital ships ready for deployment. And our technological advantage? Overwhelming, sir. Our weapons are approximately 200 years ahead of current galactic standards. Our defensive systems make us essentially invulnerable to any known weapons. Most importantly, our manufacturing capacity allows us to build ships faster than any potential enemy could replace losses." Defense Minister Yun Ji looked up from her reports. "Sir, we're receiving requests for protection from 17 different species. Some are offering trade agreements, others are promising scientific cooperation. The galaxy is realizing they need us more than we need them." President Hyun Woo walked to the window overlooking Luna City. Millions of humans went about their daily lives, unaware that their species had just become the galaxy's newest superpower. "What about the hegemony remnants?" he asked. "Scattered and demoralized," Admiral Dong Ho replied. General Vexthon's survivors have retreated to their border worlds. Intelligence suggests they're planning some kind of revenge, but they lack the resources for immediate retaliation. And the Council? Terrified. They're debating whether to recognize our demands or attempt some form of resistance. Either way, they know the old balance of power is finished. Ambassador Jin A entered the Situation Room carrying a secure communication device. Mr. President, I've just received a formal invitation from the Galactic Council. They're requesting that Earth send a representative to address the Assembly directly. President Hyun Woo smiled. After a century of hiding in the shadows, humanity was finally being invited to take its place on the galactic stage. Accept their invitation, Ambassador. It's time the galaxy learned what Earth really stands for. Back on Council Prime, Chancellor Zeph Major adjourned the emergency session with no clear resolution. As representatives filed out in confusion and fear, one thing was certain: the galaxy would never be the same. The age of human isolation was over. The age of human influence had begun. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Valara, and the galaxy was still adjusting to its new reality. The massive Earth fortress called Valara Station hung in orbit above the peaceful farming world like a protective umbrella. Captain Da-Un stood on the station's observation deck, watching Valari cargo ships deliver their latest harvest to waiting Earth transports. The blue-skinned farmers had become humanity's first true allies in space. Their advanced agricultural technology could grow food on worlds previously considered barren, while Earth's protection allowed them to develop and trade freely for the first time in centuries. Captain, called Lieutenant Min Su from the communication station. We're receiving another request for protection, this time from the Crystalline Republic. They're offering to share their energy storage technology in exchange for defense against hegemony raiders. Daeun smiled as she reviewed the request. 3 more species had joined what the galaxy now called the Earth Protection Network this month alone. Each brought unique skills and knowledge that benefited everyone in the alliance. Approved, she decided. Deploy the 5th Squadron to crystalline space. Standard protection protocols. The galaxy had learned that when Earth promised protection, they meant it absolutely. Human patrol fleets now secured trade routes that had been dangerous for centuries. Pirates and raiders found themselves facing technology they couldn't understand and firepower they couldn't match. In the grand chambers of the Galactic Council, Ambassador Jin A sat at the newest addition to the Assembly Hall. The Earth delegation's seat had been placed at the same level as the traditional powers, recognizing humanity's status as an equal member of galactic civilization. Chancellor Zeph Major was addressing the Assembly about the latest crisis. The former hegemony territories remain in chaos. Without central authority, dozens of their subject worlds are declaring independence and requesting various forms of assistance. Ambassador Jin A stood to respond. Earth is prepared to offer humanitarian aid and protection to any world seeking freedom from oppression. We ask only that they commit to peaceful development and respect for sentient rights. Regent Mortaxis shifted uncomfortably in his seat. The old power structures were crumbling, and species that had been ignored for centuries were suddenly finding their voices. The humans are destabilizing thousands of years of established order. The established order included genocide, slavery, and oppression, Jin A replied calmly. Earth considers that order worth destabilizing. The truth was that Earth's emergence had given hope to countless civilizations that had suffered in silence. The Mosswalkers of Verdian Prime, thought extinct, had revealed hidden colonies requesting protection. The Crystal Singers had emerged from underground refuges where they had hidden for decades. Even some former hegemony client species were secretly reaching out. Deep in the Outer Rim territories, the scattered remnants of the hegemony plotted their revenge. Former General Vexthon, now calling himself Warlord of the Crimson Stars, gathered what remained of his forces in a hidden asteroid base. The humans embarrassed us. he snarled to his remaining officers. They made the mighty hegemony look weak in front of the entire galaxy. This cannot stand. His intelligence officer, Commander Keth Nar, presented the latest reconnaissance data. Sir, our spies report that Earth continues building more ships. Their fleet strength has doubled since Velara. They now have over 120 dreadnoughts operational. Numbers mean nothing if we can find their weakness, Vexthon replied. Every species has vulnerabilities. The humans cannot be perfect. Unknown to the hegemony remnants, Captain, So-Young's upgraded reconnaissance ship, Silent Whisper, was monitoring their every communication from less than a kilometer away. Earth's intelligence network had grown even more sophisticated since revealing themselves to the galaxy. Command, So-Young reported to Admiral Dong Ho via quantum encryption. The hegemony survivors are planning some kind of attack. They're gathering ships near the Korath Nebula. Admiral Dong Ho reviewed the intelligence from his office on Luna Base. Through his window, he could see the massive shipyards where Earth's next generation of warships were taking shape. Each new vessel incorporated lessons learned from studying. Captured alien technology. How many ships are we talking about? He asked. Approximately 60 vessels, sir, mostly damaged ships they've managed to repair. Nothing that poses a real threat to our fleets, but they could do significant damage to unprotected civilian targets. The Admiral made his decision quickly. Earth's policy was clear: protect the innocent, eliminate threats before they could act. Alert Captain Minho aboard the Indomitable. Deploy the Third Fleet to Korath. Rules of engagement: demand surrender, accept if offered, destroy if refused. 3 days later, the Earth fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Korath Nebula. Admiral Sung Min, now commanding the expanded Third Fleet, watched as his sensors located the hidden hegemony base. 20 dreadnoughts against 60 damaged ships, observed Commander Young-Soo. Hardly seems fair. It isn't, Sung Min agreed. But we didn't choose this fight. The human fleet's arrival had been detected immediately. Alarms wailed throughout. The asteroid base, as Vexthon scrambled to organize his forces. All ships, launch immediately, he screamed into his communicator. Attack formation, Crimson Death. Show these humans that the hegemony still has claws. The hegemony remnant fleet poured out of their hiding places like angry insects. Their ships bore scars from previous battles, hastily welded armor patches, and weapon systems barely held together with spare parts. Admiral Sung Min opened communications on all frequencies. Hegemony forces, this is Admiral Sung Min of the Bike Earth Defense Fleet. You are ordered to surrender immediately and submit to galactic justice for crimes against innocent civilizations. Vexthon's response came in the form of every weapon his fleet possessed firing at once. Plasma cannons, particle beams, and fusion missiles struck the Earthship's shields and vanished harmlessly. So much for accepting surrender, Young-Soo commented. The human response was swift and decisive. Unlike the chaotic battle at Velara, this engagement was a planned military operation. Earth's weapons fired in carefully coordinated volleys designed to disable rather than destroy when possible. In 8 minutes, the second hegemony fleet was finished. Half their ships were destroyed outright, while the remainder drifted powerless with their weapon systems surgically removed by precise laser strikes. Vexthon found himself aboard a damaged transport, watching Earth Marines in advanced combat. Suits board his vessel. The humans moved with professional efficiency, treating captured enemies with more respect than the hegemony had ever shown their own prisoners. As Earth soldiers secured the bridge, Vexthon stared at the lead Marines. Helmet display. Instead of the savage primitives he had expected, he saw disciplined professionals carrying out their duties with calm competence. The galaxy has changed, the Marine said through his helmet's translator. You can change with it or be left behind. News of the second hegemony defeat spread even faster than the first. Across the galaxy, the last holdouts of the old order realized that resistance was futile. Earth's technology was simply too advanced, their resolve too strong, and their moral authority too clear. On Velara Prime, farmer Kale Vita stood in his fields watching his children play without fear for the first time in their lives. Above them, Earth patrol ships kept silent watch over a world that had learned to trust in human protection. The galaxy believed Earth was alone and primitive. Instead, they discovered humanity had been watching from the shadows, building an empire of protection and justice that would reshape civilization itself. In the end, Earth had not conquered the galaxy through force. They had saved it through strength guided by conscience. The age of human guardianship had begun, and the stars themselves seemed brighter for it.